you for watching The Forum. I'm your host, Ashley Tate, here with my co-host, Christy Largent. And today we're talking all about helping children. And we're here with our first guest, founder Mike Logan. And he's the founder of Children First. And I'm excited to hear all about this because it sounds like a pretty big program.
Yes.
But actually very simple in how you do it. So let's hear a little bit about Children First.
Well, Children First is a foster family agency, and we have counseling programs throughout the North State from the Oregon border down to Corning. And we have transitional housing programs where we help children who come out of foster care. We have a program so that they won't be homeless and get them on their feet. And it's kind of like we're their aunts and uncles, but we're also case managers and help them move towards goals and education and working.
Now, is there something that is there some sort of, I must be missing something, when they get out of foster care, they have the potential to be homeless?
Yeah, they used to. You know, probably 4 or 5 years ago, when they got out of foster care at 18, 50% of the children within the first 3 years were either incarcerated, dead, alone, or pregnant and alone, or having a child and alone. Wow. So it's a very devastating life because if you look at your family, they may or may not have been that supportive, but you could always count on them. Yeah. And I remember, I do a joke, but I used to go home and drink milk from the milk carton. I was that comfortable being at home bring my clothes in and get them washed and dried and eat whatever mom had left over. But these kids have nothing, and they don't have any real role models of going to work or what's happening in the community. So we're able to help them move through that first transition into work or into school, into college.
That's great. Yeah.
Mm. It's really remarkable when you think about like how you just gave us that visual, right? Like those years, say between 18 and 24, when you're kind of still really malleable and unsure, we just took for granted our family.
That's right.
Right? And so you guys are stepping up and creating a place for them to be grounded during these years.
Yeah.
And how do you do that?
Well, we put them generally into an apartment with somebody else,
or like
a roommate or themselves, and then we do case management and get goals to go to school. Some of them need to finish their high school. Some of them have just not done well in high school, so that's the first one, then get into college. And I have a number of children that have gone on to 4-year colleges.
That's fantastic.
Some that have just been amazing. One got a scholarship to UC Davis, and so we've just put that program together, do case management to help them through those things, and whatever kids do between, I call everybody kid, but youth do between 18 and 21, and the mistakes they make and getting them back on track, which is what our families generally did, saying, you know, you're goofing up, get back here. And so that's that part of the program.
How many kids do you have right now in that program?
We have approximately 45 today in Tehama and Shasta counties. Okay. And then we have several up in Siskiyou County.
And how do they get referred into that program?
Well, they either have been in our agency as foster children and aged out, or they interview if they've been with other agencies, or they've been in foster care with the county. They'll interview with our agency. And so many of them choose us. We do a lot of neat programs. We've taken them to Apple. We've taken them to Stanford. We try to blow out their perceptions of the world.
Give them a bigger vision.
There you go.
Yeah.
Because some of them have not been out of the county, and most of them have not been in the state. And at times we've done events like going to Disneyland, and almost all the children, the 8 children we took to Disneyland, the 8 youth, had never been in a plane. And so those type of things, and my wife and I, when we adopted twin boys at 7, we wanted to give them an experience so that they would always choose the experiences that they're having rather than the experiences that they had. Right. And so we try to do that, to go, there's more to life, and there's nothing stopping you. Your past is your past, but you can create your future. So that's what we're trying to do.
So there's another arm to your Children First, and that's your Solutions to Youth Fund, Solutions for Youth Fund. So can you tell us a little bit about what that is and how that got started?
Yeah, I think it was in the spring. I went to a consortium on homeless, and I wanted to see what was going on in our community, because this homeless situation is really changed from 20, 30 years ago when I came here. And it's something that I want to be a part of making a difference in. So when I was at their consortium, there were 300 people. One of the speakers, and I think it was Kristen Schrader, said, you know, there are 108 declared homeless kids in high school. And
in Redding.
In Shasta County. And I thought, no, that's okay. Where does this number come from? I did my research, and I found out by talking to Michael Leary at Shasta High and the principal there, Leo Perez, that there are probably 3 to 4 times that amount in our community. Now, homelessness is really, like people ask me, well, what's homelessness? Well, homeless can be just living behind a building and going to school, or it can be on somebody's couch, or it can be an aunt and uncle taking you in, but no support from the parents, so they don't have the resources necessarily. Right. Or like us, my family, when we brought in a child, Henry, his dad was an alcoholic, kicked him out of the house. It was a very violent family, a very violent man who affected his family. So we brought him in his senior year, and he graduated and got a scholarship to Chico State.
Oh,
so there are people like that, right, that do that, and or they can be commercially sexually exploited and being exploited while they're out there, and so I took it to my board of directors, and I go, we got to do something, and I've got a plan, and the plan was. Basically, we have some reserves that we've had over the years, and if you don't use your reserves, they sit there in a nonprofit, and it's like when something goes wrong, well, things have not gone wrong, so we had
Thankfully,
there you go. So we had a reserve, and so we decided to put about $35,000 out to the 9 high schools that in the areas we work in Wairika, in Red Bluff High, Shasta, Foothill, Enterprise, and then the 3 alternative day schools, which are North State, Pioneer, and Freedom Academy. And then down in Red Bluff High and Salisbury. So we put we allocated $4,000 to each high school, and then $2,500 to each alternative school. So what this looks like is we don't want to we don't want to say what the children need. We want the school officials, the counselors, the homeless coalition folks to say, hey, we have a girl here who needs a coat. And so they contact us, they email us, the girl needs a coat, she's medium, she wants blue color. We go and buy the coat, we take it over to the school. It's all anonymous, and then we want the child to send a thank you note.
Right.
Both for gratitude for their soul, but also to just tell the story to the community so that the community will start to add to this
fund.
Yeah, so that's what we're doing. And so we're being inundated right now. It's a little slow start, and we're just now getting lots of requests in, and we're figuring out our system, but it's really going well.
So what kind of requests are coming in?
Mostly for clothes.
Okay.
And if you can imagine, if you're homeless, high school kids, quite frankly, I think they're heroes. You know, I don't know what to do with the homeless problem with adults. That's not where I'm going to focus my time. Yeah. But I consider these kids heroes to go to school every day, smelling, maybe not taking a shower for 4 or 5 days or maybe longer, not changing clothes, but going in and participating in life, moving forward. Yeah. What else is, this is amazing.
I'm just thinking about, I have a junior higher, and they're doing a poem in their literature class. Right. They're doing poetry that's about being a middle schooler. And it reminded me of all the angst and drama, and I was thinking as you were talking what it would be like for an 8th grader to have to wear the same clothes to school every day. I would have thought, you just kill me now. I would have been like, because in our minds that would be, we'd never want to be seen twice in the same. Yeah. And yet here these poor children are. Yeah. They have no place to take a bath, for heaven's sake. Yeah.
Right? So are you able to take clothes from the community if, We haven't yet, but we're open to that. What I generally do when I design a program is to start the program and then build
make
on
iterations.
And let the people who are consuming the program, the principals, the counselors, the kids, tell us what would be a better program and do that. That's the only, other people do it the other way, which is fix the perfect program and put it in place. I'm not a perfectionist. I'm more like, let's
just
do
start.
this thing and see how we, let's redo it and repaint it. And one of the things I want to do is to impact our homeless situation, because 35% of the adults that are in our community were homeless as teens.
What?
And
Say that again?
35% of our adults who are homeless were homeless as teens. So you're looking at a third of the folks out there were homeless as teens. They're out of school, they're on the streets. And I got to tell you, if I'm sleeping out on the streets and in the world that I can't even imagine, I would probably do a painkiller. You know, I may be drinking, I may be slamming some dope, but I would do something if I was out there. Well, then that creates another dysfunctional and sometimes deviant way of living. So I want to prevent that and do what we can to prevent that in our community. So that's what our Children First nonprofit wanted to do.
How do people give to you? Like, can they give you clothes, or do you want money? What's going to work best for your program?
Money would probably be better, because here's what we're looking at. If they need a computer, or they need to go to a science camp, or they need tutoring to get into college, or they need to get the SAT test or whatever test, we want to have more of the money to give at that point in time to do that, because
to meet the need.
We want to complete high school, and then that's a real key thing to kids. Then they can get into federal funding, they can get into vocational funding
and
for
you
schools.
help them walk through it. You can
well,
help
the school will, and we will help fund that.
So how do people get a hold of you, or how can they donate?
Sure. Well, contact us, contact our website at childrenfirstffa.com.
And if this is your poster, right? If you see this around town, you will know that that's what it's about.
Yes.
Say the website again.
childrenfirstffa.com. And on that, you'll see this young lady's picture. And you just click on that or on our donate, and then go and donate. And we have all the high schools listed there as far as what high school you'd like to donate to. Or if you just want to donate to where the need is greatest, we have that checked also. And then
thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure having you, Mike. I love hearing about these kind of positive things, huh? Well, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back just in a few seconds with the second half of our program.
Hi, we are back, and we're talking with more people helping children. And we have Paula and Randy Cardoza, who are wish granters for the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and they are in the Siskiyou County area. So this is, there's so much to dive into, because I know a lot of people recognize Make-A-Wish. But tell us how you guys got involved with Make-A-Wish. How?
Well, our journey started in 2002 with our daughter, who had our daughter Taylor, who had a brain tumor. And we woke up Father's Day morning, as it was, and she was having a grand mal seizure. And we both woke up and heard her. She's a picture of perfect health, gymnast at the time. Everything was great. And so I pick her up and going, what's going on? And she's in a seizure. So I said to Paula, call the ambulance. The ambulance comes. A little bit later on, the doctor, I remember, puts the thing on the screen and says, your daughter has a tumor about the size of an orange. Small orange.
On her brain.
On her brain, yes. And so that was...
How old was she at that time?
She was 8, just a couple months maybe from being 9.
Oh my goodness. And it was Father's Day.
It was Father's Day, yes. I'll never forget that Father's Day. I still, when Father's Day comes around, I still think about that.
Oh, I'm sure you do. Oh my gosh, that is
So she had the tumor, and
she had surgery within a week. It was very quick.
Wow.
It was very quick. So your life changes quickly.
Absolutely.
And subsequently, she had another surgery a year later.
Okay.
And then we got a call that she was referred by a friend to have a wish granted through the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
And how did you guys feel about that phone call? Because honestly, I mean, when you get a call like that, it's not necessarily like a great thing, because it could imply something different, right? Did your daughter turn out okay and everything was?
She is. She
Okay.
is healthy, and you know, she is 24 years old now. But initially, it was a hard phone call to get because it scares you.
Yeah.
It's like you're in denial. It's like you're like, no. When you hear that call, you go, no, that's for children that are
Really
Terminal.
sick.
really
That are
sick
terminal.
and that
Yeah.
are terminal. Correct.
Yeah.
And so my thought was, no, we're not going to do this. And then as the person came to us and explained the story, it doesn't have to be that way. It's as the child had a life-threatening illness, then you kind of understand. It opens you up a little bit more to, okay, well, this is a little bit different. Because as a dad, I was like, no, we're not doing this. No, I remember telling Paula. And then as I got explained to me a little more, I was like, I could accept it.
What was her wish?
I understand.
So her wish was to go to Disney World, and she ended up going on a trip, all of us, to Florida, and she went to Disney World and swam with dolphins, and
Oh, wow.
we have family back there, and so she got to see the family, you know, that had been praying for her, and so that's actually one of the most common wishes. The number
Really?
one wish is Disney World.
Oh my gosh.
And right, it's a magical place.
I could see that.
Yeah.
In
Especially
a place
for
called
children.
Give Kids a World.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Is
And-
that okay? Okay.
So,
Have you heard of
a
that?
lot
No,
of
I
people, well, not a lot, but there are quite a few recipients of Make-A-Wish, right? Gifts, but they don't become volunteers and coordinators. So how did you guys make that shift from recipient to staff?
Well, Paula and I are people that like to give back to the community, and it's right where our heart hits us. And I remember sitting at the county lunch counter one day, and I was reading the newspaper, and I happened to look, and it says from Siskiyou County, we're looking for volunteers. And I said to Paula, hey, what do you think about this? You know, just kind of shot in the dark. And she's like, let's do it, just instantly. And she made some phone calls and starts the process. And it's rather long and extensive process to make sure that you're the right candidate for the children. Right. And that started this great big thing that we've been a part of and been so fortunate to be a part of for so many years now.
How long have you been doing this?
Since 2007, so 10 or 11 years now.
Yeah.
I wish more people were. Sorry, I really do wish more people were like you guys. I mean, you know, you took advantage of something, and you know how it made you feel and how it affected your family, and then now you guys went on to actually be part of it. And you guys actually are part of a very famous, pretty famous, right? Well known, I should say, wish that was granted in San Francisco for a boy from Siskiyou County, right?
Correct.
Okay,
yes.
tell us a little bit about that and what it was, because that's a very,
Great story.
yeah, it is an extra.
So that wish ended up being for a young man, Miles, who wished to be a Batkid, and so most people are familiar with that because social media got a hold of that, and it kind of went viral.
Yeah.
And so what happened?
So it was just for us a normal wish. We were referred. Miles was referred to the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and we're part of the Greater Bay Area Make-A-Wish Foundation. And so we met with Miles and his family. And part of the wish process as a wish granter is we get the fun part. We get to meet with the family, meet with the kids. And so usually when it's a boy, Randy does the interviewing and I do the paperwork. And then if it's a girl, so
That's a good partnership. You guys got that worked out.
we went in and Randy ended up interviewing Miles, but he was shy. He was really shy when we met him. I remember he was hiding behind a recliner.
With his Batman suit on, his little pajamas.
And he had his
How old is
pajamas
he?
on. He was 4.
Oh, just little.
Very
He was
adorable.
little, and so we usually bring an icebreaker gift so we can get the kids,
Behind the
comfortable
couch
with
and
us. And so he came out to open his present, and I think he was playing with balloons or something like that. And so
Well, the one question that stands out when I asked him was, why do you want? It's one of the simple questions is, why do you want to be, Batman or something like that? And do you remember what he said?
And he did. He said,
Looks you right in the eye.
he said, because I dream about it.
Oh.
And so
chills.
it seemed like such a simple wish. I'm thinking, I wonder what the chapter is going to do. He wants to be Batman.
Batman for the day? That was it.
Just Batman.
Oh, he wants to be Batman.
Just
Okay.
wants to be Batman. And so we sent it into the chapter, and their idea was to turn San Francisco into Gotham City and have him go and do little rescues through the day.
How cute is that?
And there's actually a documentary on it, Batkid, which I think debuted at the Sundance Film Festival.
Okay, that's why we know about it. Okay.
And so this wish grew and grew, and like the people in Greater Bay Area, the people we work with said, we literally would get phone calls. That's the first time I ever experienced social media as its finest.
Yeah.
And they said there was literally a room full of gifts and letters that were stuffed in there that they had from all over the world. It ended up being the largest Make-A-Wish wish granted, well known. And how many people did it affect?
I believe they said it reached, they speculate about 2 billion people around the world.
I believe that.
It was a massive undertaking, and to see a city literally close down a major part of its thoroughfare to grant this young man's wish, and the people that came into play that were actors and people that were donating their vehicles to drive.
I love it.
I mean, it was the best feel-good story I have ever been a part of in my whole entire life. And I've coached high school football and other sports, and I can tell you, that is the single most heartwarming thing I think you and I have ever been a part of.
Absolutely. Now, do you guys have an update on Miles at this point, or?
They sent out, Make-A-Wish sent out an update, I believe last year, and he is doing fantastic. He's healthy. I think he was playing baseball, and
that's fantastic.
so I hear he's doing very well.
And you guys were part of that. You guys were the start of that. That's amazing.
I think once we got there, we didn't even realize how huge it was. I remember walking out of the Hilton, and I looked up, and they had the Batman wings on the lights and on the building, and then I kind of went, "This is, I think, a little bit bigger than." And I think Paula kind of had more of a clue, but it was massive. And then the next day, there was a huge tour bus with family loaded in it, following every scene around that he was doing.
Oh my goodness!
Phenomenal.
So we were spectators that day, just part of that 25,000 people in the crowds of San Francisco, and we went and watched him do all of his stunts and his rescuing, and it was, I will say, even just being a spectator, the feeling from the crowd was just one of love and kindness.
Yes.
And generosity, and people were dressed up and signs and the excitement
and the energy
of it.
that was coming out of it. And the best part that I could share was when we had our 2 boys with us, which got to go, and they got to watch something this large happen. And I don't think they could even really, as juniors or whatever they were, they couldn't really grab it, I don't think. But I remember driving home, it was on ABC News and all the news, and we're getting phone calls, and I'm driving home from San Francisco going, I can't just believe what just happened.
Right.
You know, remember that?
Is that a common thing for wish granters to be able to be part of the wish or to see it, or did you guys do that on your own? How did that work?
So depending on the child's wish, we can be a part of them. So certain wishes, obviously travel wishes, the families, leave. We usually do a send-off party. So we're there and we go through their itinerary, and we don't want to give too much away because there's a lot of little fun things that happen. And but we get to do a send-off party for certain wishes, and then others we get to be involved in. And so that one, we were spectators that day, and then we've had wishes that were, let's say, shopping sprees, and so we were a part of that. A celebrity wish, a child flew in from a different chapter, Utah, and his wish was to meet with and see the band Journey.
And hang out with Journey for the afternoon.
And
Which happens to be my favorite band in the world.
Yeah, it happens to
They
be.
Let me
are.
tell you.
And so we
Don't stop believing.
And that's about what it was about, too. That was what that whole thing was about.
Are you serious?
That was
not even kidding.
That was his motto through his
Don't stop
treatments.
believing.
Was don't stop
And he had
believing.
shirts on.
Makes me want to
And
cry.
Love it.
awesome.
Oh my
it was,
gosh.
I mean, it was incredible. The
Okay,
concert,
I know
everything.
some of our listeners are wanting to know how they and viewers, excuse me, are wanting to know how they can do this themselves. How can they
Yeah.
get involved? How can they be a part of this?
So I would say to contact your local chapter. And
How can they find that? Is the
so
general website?
There's a website.
Makeawish.org.
Makeawish.org. Okay.
And then we're part of the Greater Bay Area Make-A-Wish, but in any each wish or each location
Right.
has their own chapter, and if you go there, there are different ways to volunteer. You can
There's wine for
donate.
wishes. There's all kinds of different
Lots
wishes.
of ways to be involved. We've had such a good day talking about all these different things, the ways that people can make a difference. And thank you for what you guys are doing, and thanks for coming on. Thank you for
guys.
watching.
Thank you
It's
for having
been
us.
another
For sharing our
great
story.
day here on the forum. Thanks for watching, and we'll look forward to seeing you again next week right here.